Do you have any? Do you have any good arguments you think are worth sharing?
I mean, the whole point is the crop death.
Yeah, okay, so I agree. Crop deaths are a problem. Vegans don't focus on it. They should focus on it. And
Right.
I even think to the degree that being overweight is not a pro vegan stance. If a
Right.
vegan is overweight, they probably should not be. Okay, so what
Yeah.
so what do you got? Well, what do you got?
First of all, I'd like to thank you. You doing this stuff here. I really appreciate it. And second, man, yeah, I agree with the overweight stuff, right? So the whole
Mhm.
point of the weight is implies that you're over consuming, which requires the position of like surplus of food, right?
Mhm.
And that implies that more land equals a very high possibility for more crop deaths, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, of course, that's not vegan, but onto your position, onto your question, right? Crop deaths, like, how do you justify that?
How do you justify it?
Right.
Yeah. So as you've heard, I want to survive. I care about myself. Most living things
Okay.
do. Not that I care what most living things do. I want to survive. I want to be as healthy as possible. So my justification for doing anything that will get me as healthy as possible is that there are probably some things that I wouldn't do to better my health, but pretty much anything I would do. So and then also survival is good as well. So I'm going to eat what I need to
Okay.
survive, but I wouldn't want to cause any extra harm. So there we go.
Why do you need to survive?
Because I want to.
So it's not a need; it's a want.
It's a want, correct? A want. I want to survive. I do. I need to survive. I don't. I don't. My subconscious. There's probably something within how things evolve to feel maybe what we could call a need, but I would call it more of a want than a need. Yeah, I want to survive. The world does not need me to survive. Correct. You don't have a faster comeback, Mike Carlson 2.0. Hello. Yeah, he's gone. Okay. Crop deaths are required for human survival, and human survival is necessary for reduction of wildlife suffering. What's the argument that more land there is?
Oh man, I'm
Oh
so
man,
sorry, dude.
it's all good.
I think yeah, we need to probably do this real quick. I don't want to
Okay,
get
yeah,
this again.
let's do it. I'm ready.
Yeah, I mean, like, I didn't know what you said, but all I remember was that you were talking about how it's not a need, but it is a desire.
Yeah, it's
So
my
you're
desire, my
yeah,
want. Yep.
yeah. So to justify the suffering that you're actually participating in, desires are one of the answers
Desires
to
are
justify
one.
to justify
Y-
the suffering of these animals, right? Even though you don't
mhm.
need to.
Yes, it is directly. It is possibly the only answer. So yes, go on.
Okay, so I mean, what's wrong with me also using the principles of desire
hmm
to kill these cows for my own food
Then
consumption?
that's exactly what that would be. So you'd be using desire to kill it for your own food consumption. And
Right.
then the only thing that would get in the way of that at all would be one of two things. So there could be a person like me that tries to convince a person like you. Hopefully, if you're deep down empathetic, I could convince you that you shouldn't want to do that. Now, if you were born without the ability of being empathetic, that's not your fault. You're just born that way. And and therefore me talking won't change anything. If we can discover as a society through scientific study and whatnot that there is absolutely no need for animal products, which I'm not convinced of at this
Right.
point, then that would be something that would just go into law. Similar to right now, it's illegal to stab a dog for fun. You stab a dog for fun, you go to jail. So anything that's causing unnecessary suffering, which somebody could say they're doing it for their own desire, the desire you're talking about, but that would
Hmm.
still mean that if we together as a society come together and make it illegal, we do. And so that would be the two different situations. That's it. Honestly, like 100%, having a desire to eat animals, that's
Hmm.
just something you could be born with or not born with. And I don't know if you're born without empathy or whatnot. But anyways, yeah, that's my answer.
Okay, so you're just saying that it's up to society if they want to make it a problem for me to
Hmm.
put into law that I can't or I should be punished
Yeah.
for
What
having
else
desire
could
to
it?
eat
Yeah.
cows.
What else could exist? I
What
don't think there's a. I don't think there's a natural rights or anything like that.
I agree, but the point I'm
Okay.
trying to point out is that it's not wrong.
It's not wrong. Yeah, so we each have our thoughts of what's right and wrong. I think pointlessly killing animals or harming animals is wrong. You might have the stance that it is not wrong. Okay.
No, no, no. It's if it's based on society, it's not inherently wrong.
If it's
It's just their
based on,
it's just their subjective. It's
yeah.
relative to what they think is wrong.
Yeah, so if we have a
Not
society
inherently.
of say 10 million people, then each of them individually subjectively would have a thing that they think is wrong. And if the majority thought it was wrong and that led to a law going in place, that would be what that is. And if the majority did not think it was wrong and there was no law in place, that would be what it is. Yes, correct.
Okay, okay. I mean, it's not what I was going for, but I don't want to touch on the whole spiel of like morality, right? But
Okay.
the thing is that like I'm just using the exact underlining underpinning principle that you use to cause suffering, and that is desires are okay, right? You
Desires are
you
definitely
even
okay.
even though you don't need to,
Hmm.
but you have a selfish desire to embody something, knowing that you cause suffering, right? So
Hmm.
you don't care. It's just I'm selfish like that. Is what
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying.
don't care more about causing suffering and death to something than I do about my own existence. That is correct.
Okay,
Okay.
so it's still a desire, right?
Yes, it's a desire.
Yeah. So for my happiness, right,
Hmm.
and my own existence,
Yeah.
I'm using desire to cause harm to cows in
Correct.
order to live that living and existing fruitful life.
Yeah, and so if you were out in nature and you were doing this act would be happening. Nature would not stop you. But a person that witnessed it, that thought that it was wrong, might try to stop you. But maybe they wouldn't. I have no idea. In a society, you would either be stopped or not stopped by your society. And by society, I mean the government putting it into law. If they don't put it into law, then you might have people trying to convince you to not do it
I don't
as it
care about that.
is. I'm not
I,
saying you do care about that.
no, no, I'm saying what would you want to happen? Because it seems like there's a conflict with the
What would I want to happen with what? I might have missed that.
people like me.
What should happen with people like you?
Yeah.
If our society could discover 100% that there is no need for humans to consume any animal products, then consuming them would become illegal. I would think. And then people like you, if by people like you mean somebody that harms animals,
Based on their desire.
you would get whatever the jail time. Like if the
Jail.
desire hold on, if the desire that you have for eating animals, if you had that same desire for stabbing dogs, then if you did that right now, even though it's your desire, you would go to jail. Now you might think you shouldn't go to jail because it's just a desire and whatever other reasons you have,
Hmm.
but you would, And I'm not saying that needs to be right or wrong. My personal opinion is that's wrong. I have a lot of opinions on things that are not illegal that I think should be illegal. And I have a lot of opinions on things that are illegal that I think should not be. I think drugs should be legal in a lot of cases. I think circumcision should be illegal. These things aren't in place right now. It takes a society's shift based on conversations to figure these things out. So yeah, I don't necessarily think anything should happen to you in the moment. These ideas of talking about veganism are to get ideas out for people to think about, because usually most people are somewhat empathetic. It sounds like you're talking in a way where you don't care if legally somebody that stabs a dog would get like jail time or something, or a fine. But maybe I'm wrong, and then I'd be curious to hear
No, I'm just
how I
using
am.
your underlying principle that desires
Okay.
are okay to cause suffering.
Desires are okay to cause suffering. Um, y- yeah, if the desire to survive causes suffering, then
Uh-huh.
to the individual that wants to survive,
Even though you don't
desire
need to,
is okay. What's that?
even though you don't need to exist.
Even though you don't correct, even though you don't need to
Right.
exist, and not existing
So
is
how is
fine
that
too.
vegan?
What's that?
How is that vegan?
How is that vegan?
Yeah.
Wha- I need more, a lot more than that. What?
All right.
How is that
Okay.
vegan?
Okay. Okay. What are you so flabbergasted by? What's going through your mind?
What are you referring to?
When I ask you how is that vegan, you're like, what? How? What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I don't know what you could possibly mean by that.
Well, I mean, you're causing suffering, right?
Hmm.
So the whole shtick with veganism is that if you're causing suffering, you need to justify it.
No,
Otherwise, no.
no,
Okay, now I'm flabbergasted.
no. I mean, most vegans would kill a
Wow.
chicken on an island to survive. I don't. I,
W-
I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
why do you need to survive? That's you're. It's like you're begging the question.
We've already talked about that. Nobody needs to survive. Some people want to survive. Some
Okay.
don't.
No. Okay, so if
What?
you don't need to survive, why do you need?
No,
Why are
I
you
want
causing
to.
harm? Why are you
Wait,
causing
what?
harm?
I'm
If you
causing
don't,
harm because I care more about my survival than the thing I'm harming.
I know you care about it, but the thing is
Yeah.
that it's not a necessity. That's
Correct.
like saying like I care about my taste pleasure. I don't care.
Yeah,
Do you
you
not
care about
understand
your
the
taste pleasure. I care about survival. You care about your taste pleasure. And some people like to stab dogs. So if you're not in a society, then you're more than likely going to get away with it. If you are in a society, it's going to depend on what the laws are. What are you talking about?
all these are desires based. They're not necessities, is what I'm talking about. You're not
Hmm.
justifying through the vegan lens, is what I'm talking about.
Maybe we have different ideas on what a vegan lens is.
How how are you justifying through the vegan lens if you're saying that it's not needed to survive and it's just desire, and yet knowing that you're causing suffering by existing? How is that justified?
I've told you like 1,000 times. What, you just want me to repeat it or what?
Well, I mean, at this point, I just don't see how you can say that I'm wrong for eating meat, right? Or am I
Wrong?
wrong for stabbing a cow and cooking
Objectively or
salmon?
subjectively?
Both.
I'm not claiming that you're objectively wrong.
Then I can't also be subjectively wrong because if we're just based on subjective desires are okay, what's wrong with
You must be subjectively wrong if the person that's having the subjective feeling thinks it. What are you talking about?
no? The
Yes.
underlying engine, the underlying principle you're using is in conflict with what you personally think is wrong.
No. I mean, it's in conflict in a sense that I'd prefer it not happen. Sure. Well, what
What?
about it? Yeah, like if the most minimal amount of suffering that needs to happen is what I cause to have
Let me go even
optimal health
further.
and and survive, then whatever that minimal amount is, I might prefer that not to happen, but it doesn't mean that I would choose that over surviving, and I do not.
But you're choosing and surviving as not necessary.
For what? Necessary for what?
You tell me.
No,
You
no,
want
no.
you
You're
want
the
to
one
survive for
choosing
what?
words and wanting them to mean a certain thing.
No,
You
no,
tell
no.
me.
No, you're saying you want to survive. I'm saying survive for what? Because I'm not seeing how it's necessary.
Necessary for what?
You're the one who wants to survive. It's necessary for what exactly?
No, I want to survive. That is my
Right?
want. If you want,
Okay.
I can describe what the word want means to me. You saying necessary, what does that mean to you?
What? It's not, the onus is not on me. You are
Which
using that
onus?
justification. You're
What's
using
that?
that justification. I mean, well, you're using the
What?
justification of desire, not necessity.
Yes, correct.
I just don't
But
see how I'm
but what
wrong eating
about
a
it?
cow. It's what I'm talking about.
Say it again.
I just don't see how I'm wrong eating a cow.
Do you see how you'd be wrong stabbing a dog?
If it's based on desire, then if you're, it's
Then what?
unnecessary. Then I mean, is
That
it wrong for you?
is I'm asking if it's wrong for you.
Well, why me? Why not go
Because
to you?
I know you're scared to answer this question, and I'm
What do you
curious to
mean?
hear what happens if you do.
Well, it's actually based on your principle, right? I'm just
No, no,
trying to
no,
see
no,
if you're
no, no.
consistent.
I'm curious if you personally think it's wrong.
Why do you want me? Why do you want to think that I think it's personally wrong?
I
Why?
don't want to think nothing. I want to know if you personally think it's wrong.
Well,
And
Carson,
while
like
you think
you're a
about not
vegan,
answering
right?
that, I want to answer somebody's question really quick in here. I
Yeah.
hope you get the courage to answer that question. Um, Lewis, where was it? Lewis said something. Where did he say this? Where did it go? Okay. Oh, Lewis told me I had a bad argument, so you might like this. Okay. So Lewis
So,
Miguel said that's not a good argument. Reasonable. The answer is because you have the right to live and getting food doesn't create rights violations. Crop deaths are self-defense. Okay.
okay, well,
I used to think that too, and here's where I feel that you're wrong. So with crop deaths, if you spray pesticides, you're spraying this thing with the knowledge of what it's going to cause. You have it there so these insects will come and die from it. This happens because we're putting it in demand. So it's similar to a person that eats a dead animal. They didn't kill that animal. That animal's already dead, but them purchasing it puts the next dead animal in demand. So you essentially have the same thing where if you knowing what is going to happen, you are contributing to what puts something in demand that causes death. Now, I think unless it
that
can be
is true.
proven that there's more harm from the crop deaths, that it's better to continue eating that food. I'm not saying you shouldn't eat it, but it is definitely a rights violation. It must be. Anyways, Mike, did you decide if you're going to answer that question?
I was just eating some chicken, but
Is it good?
what is yeah, it was some what do they call this? Wild buffalo sauce. It's pretty fucking tasty.
All right.
Even though I don't need to eat it, you know, but
Mm-hmm. Do you
I
think
cherish it, you know.
do you think it is morally acceptable, in your opinion, to stab a dog for fun?
I mean, do you?
I will not answer that question until
Why
you tell
not?
me, because I
Why
want
not?
to know if you think it's morally acceptable to stab a dog for fun.
Well, I need to know whether or not you think it's moral or not. Because I'm just
I
challenging you.
mhm.
I'm just challenging your underlying
Yeah,
principle.
yeah. You already have done that, and now I'm curious about yours. I just
Well, I
want you
mean,
to
I haven't really gotten a straight answer. All I
and
got
you
was
will
just
get one once you answer that
nervous
question for
chuckles
me.
and dodging.
Do you think it's morally acceptable to stab a dog for fun?
Come on, Carson.
It's just this funny thing that it's so weird that
What
there's this subset of anti-vegans that they don't care about any of the things they're saying, or at least it seems clear that that's the case.
really?
But they, yes,
I
and I
care what
think
I'm
I
saying.
think you fit into that category right now because you're trying to prove a point where your point falls apart unless you're one of the few, and I've met some of these that actually do not think dogs can feel pain, and what seems like pain
Okay.
isn't really pain, and that it shouldn't be illegal to stab them. But at least if you
I have
say it
no.
out loud, then I can hear it out loud.
Okay, now I am mentally, visually, physically confused about what the fuck you're talking about because I have no like now my question is
Do
shifting to
you
what
do
is the goal of your
you
question?
do
What is the goal of
you
the question?
do you think it is immoral to you in your own mind if a human stabs a dog just for the pleasure of doing so? No other benefit.
Yeah, I'm still confused because the question at hand is we're testing veganism. I'm not a vegan. You claim to be a vegan. So I don't understand what
Hold on, I'm
is
going to stop you
why
because
your question is so
you're not
important.
answering my question, and I don't care. I'll come back to you in 1 second. Lewis
Oh, okay.
said, "You knowing that will cause death doesn't make it a rights violation. If you put the pesticide, but they don't, let's see, attack your crop, then it's all good." Imagine it like this. So imagine if you found if you could create a type of poison that would make a deer attracted to it and the deer wanted to consume it and you put it out in the forest, then that was your version of hunting. You put it out in the forest and the deer came up, consumed it, fell over dead. The aftermath, I don't think should affect anything. It's what your actions were, and so you leaving something out and something consuming it and dying, and that one is less comparable with insecticides and it's more comparable with rodenticides. But I'm curious to hear your answer on that. But anyways, Lewis, thanks for the challenges, and we should keep talking about it. Okay, Mike, are you ready to answer the question?
I think Louis should come on.
Um, yeah, no, that'd be cool. But I think you should answer the question. I
I
just
don't
don't
see
get
the
why you're
point
so.
of the question.
I just don't get why you're so scared to answer the question. You
That's the
can
problem. I don't get how you think I'm scared because I
that.
legitimately don't understand what's the point of the question.
Why do you need to understand the point of the question?
Because I'm not the vegan here. I'm not the vegan here.
Uh,
I don't get it.
Mike. There's nothing to get. I'm just
Carson,
saying. I'm
help me
just
here.
saying. I'm just saying that some of your questions are good and fun to answer. The majority of what you're doing is some form of trolling, especially if you're unwilling to answer a simple question. I think your concern is that you answering this question makes your line of questioning to me pointless. But it doesn't matter. You can have a line of questioning to me that's pointless, that challenges me, even if it doesn't line up with your own thoughts. So I
Carson.
just want to know really quick. You can say either way. I just want to know if you think it is immoral to stab a dog just for fun. And you can say, yeah, that's immoral to do. And then we can all know that that makes your questioning pointless, but it doesn't matter. You can still challenge me, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with challenging me,
I'm just
even against your own
Carson.
ideas.
I'm just the thing is that I don't see how I'm wrong eating a cow for food if we're actually just using the underlying principle of desires. You have a different threshold, and that's entirely subjective. But I'm trying to look whether or not I am truly in the
Do you
wrong.
think
You
every
can't
desire
prove that.
should. Okay, I will answer that. Do you think every desire should be acted upon?
No, you as a vegan, do you think every desire should be acted upon?
No, I don't.
Okay. So knowing that you have a desire that causes suffering,
Mm hmm.
a desire to exist,
Mm
even
hmm.
though you don't need to,
Yep.
how is that a good justification?
Because it's mine. It's my justification.
Right.
Do you
It's your
think
desire, right? It's not needed.
correct?
So
Correct.
how is it wrong? Everybody just used the desires and just like
No, that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if you think an ideal society would involve everybody acting upon their
Oh, I get the
desires.
problem now. I get the problem. It's the question is to you is like if you're using desires, what's wrong with everybody using their desire to enact on?
What would be wrong would be all the thoughts I have of what is wrong. And then every individual that is human that can rationalize
Uh-oh.
can point out what theirs are.
Uh-oh.
And then we form a society based on that.
But they use the same exact principle as you to enact on their desires. I mean,
Correct.
well,
Okay. Yeah.
it's just
Okay.
based on desires.
Yes.
So according to your principle,
That's why.
everybody's just doing
That's
their
why
own
people
thing.
eat meat in our society. What are you talking about? That's exactly what it is. You desire to
Well, I
eat
mean, we can
meat
go even
as
well, okay, so you're saying that it's
what the
not wrong to eat meat. That's what you're implying.
No, I think it's very wrong to eat meat.
What? But you just said that like desires are okay. They just have
No,
different schedules.
no. I'm
Oh, okay,
trying to
okay.
see
So
if you
desires are
think
not okay
that.
to do by choice.
I do not think every desire should be acted upon.
Okay, well that just begs the question further. Why? You're using desires. Why can't they? You're not gonna pass this.
Why don't you answer your own question?
I think that I wouldn't be fully altruistic because it's just leads into suicide. But you think being this altruistic person,
It doesn't, and the proof is that you can't even answer your own question.
what the fuck are you even talking about?
Answer your own question. Do you think
What are you
everyone
trying to go with? Like, if I can't answer my question, what are you trying to get at?
What do
Like,
you
it
mean?
doesn't have that punch. But what the fuck are you trying to get at?
What am I trying to get at?
Exactly. Yeah.
You're saying that something should take place because of desire.
Oh no 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 no. You. What I am saying hypothetically, coming from your principle. Yeah. I don't believe that. You
You know,
believe
no,
it.
no, no, no. You know my principle. My principle is I don't give a fuck about the animals that need to die for me to survive. And you
Uh-huh.
keep saying that you want to align something with my principles. Those are my principles. I'm
Well,
telling you
it's
my
based on desire.
principles. It's
But
based
it's
on
based
what?
on desire. It's
It's
based on
based on
desire.
desire,
There you go.
1000%.
Yes.
Yes. It's,
So what's wrong with people also using their own desires?
it
Desire.
depends on the desire and what the outcome of the desire is, which is why you agree with me. You're just trying to challenge me for
I
some
what? What
silly
did I agree with you?
reason. If I could list 1,000 desires that humans could have that me and you would both agree should not be acted upon, but you think because some desire I'm claiming should be acted upon, it means something to something
Because
that
you're a
what?
vegan.
Yeah. And
So
you
how
think
is
vegan means a
desires
certain thing, and
okay?
I think it means a different thing.
So veganism is like I can just make veganism up as we got to eat meat once a week. You'll be okay with that?
Would I? Sorry. Say it again.
So you said veganism can mean something to me,
Hmm.
and veganism can mean something to you. So you would embrace wholeheartedly under that principle that veganism, I would consider veganism as eating meat once a week. You'd be like, yeah, right on, perfect.
Well, I don't know about perfect. I'd say right on for you. If you are eating more than once a week, and if it's reducing, then
That's not
yes,
the point.
I think that's good. Good. What I'm saying is you're trying to declare that I should act a certain way based on what you think veganism means, and I don't
Well,
have
yeah.
any interest in that.
So you're not a vegan.
What?
You're
What?
not.
No.
You're saying I have no inclination to follow
Your
veganism.
average vegan doesn't even care about crop deaths. And I care about the things your average vegan
Ah,
cares
there
about
you go.
plus crop deaths. So
There you
clearly you
go.
don't have an understanding of what your average person thinks about veganism. Now, I do think you can
Veganism
challenge
is
vegans when it comes to something like crop deaths. To see if they stay in line with their own stance. I also think that the actions within veganism are all on a spectrum and must be on a spectrum, as we've just discovered on some kind
veganism is
of
on the
boring
spectrum.
repeat that even to the furthest extent, there has to be a spectrum, no matter what. It has to exist. So, anyways,
Veganism is
I
on the spectrum. Is that what you're saying?
so Yes,
Wow.
the actions of
Oh,
veganism is
spectrum,
clearly
guys.
on a spectrum. Is it not?
Well, I mean,
I
at
mean, I
this
think
point,
everybody agrees with that.
I don't know who's the real vegan then.
Me or you?
Everybody who calls themselves vegan. I don't know if that guy's vegan is your veganism, and so yeah, I don't know who's the real vegan.
Yeah, I mean, but for the most part, we can't know, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how is Carson a vegan? I
What's
don't
that?
know. I don't know if Carson's a vegan.
Mike, what's that? Was there a question in there?
Carson, man,
What's that, man?
I love you.
That's awesome. I love you too.
What are you drinking?
Very watered down cold brew.
Cold brew. What's the ingredient of cold brew?
Cold brew coffee.
Do you need coffee
What's
as a
that?
vegan? Do you need coffee as a vegan?
Do I need coffee as a vegan? Ooh, I like it. Do I need coffee as a vegan? Do I need coffee as a vegan? Which would mean do I need
Oh,
coffee at all? I don't think I need coffee. Probably not.
oh, my drink, it kind of fell.
Your who is a whaty who?
My drink, it fell.
Oh, it fell. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Well, good thing you were out. The drink was empty. I
was
thought
kind
I
of.
heard. I thought I heard the straw sound that you hear in movies where you're at the end of your drink.
Oh, you heard that?
I thought I did.
Okay.
Anyways, I probably do got to hop off here soon. Do you have a good argument?
Man, what do you mean by that?
I'm just curious if you want, like, I don't need you to answer your own question. I don't really care. But I'd be interested to hear if you. It seems like you have something that you want to keep repeating. I don't know the benefit you get from it. I'm not against the idea
Oh,
of breaking down an idea and analyzing it. I guess I just wish that you would figure out a way to analyze it.
right,
But
right.
yeah,
I think that I think you're looking for. I guess we're both kind of looking for like what is the impact of my answer, and
what is?
it doesn't really hit. But what I'm trying to go for is that I think that I don't think you are a vegan because how can you? The whole point of veganism is to actually justify the suffering you're causing.
Do you think a
It
vegan
it
can
can only be
exist?
necessary. It can only be necessities.
Yeah, the
But
thing that
you
you're saying
can't.
when you say vegan and you think that I'm not one, can a vegan exist?
Uh, ooh, man, I don't think so. But
Yeah, no, I
okay,
agree.
let me well, wait. Dang it. The whole point of veganism, right? Carson.
What's up?
Okay, well, yeah, that's a great question because I was thinking, like, I know that veganism, it can only suffering that you're causing. In order to be vegan, you have to justify all the suffering you're causing. It can only be necessities, and so this leads into like pure altruism to 100% extent, right? But the
Mm-hmm.
only way to be pure altruistic, it is achievable, and that is through suicide, right? Because knowing
Mm-hmm.
that your existence causes suffering, and you know that you don't need to exist, then you can never be truly altruistic, or you can never truly be vegan, right? So this gets to your question: is can a true vegan truly exist?
Mm-hmm.
So under that particular logic, I don't necessarily think so because you will have to suicide. But then again, a vegan do exist because if you do suicide, you become the ultimate vegan.
Yes, yes,
Damn.
yes. Mike for the win. Um, but yeah, no, I agree with you completely. Which is why I don't know if you follow too much of my stuff or you saw my post about my thoughts on the definition, but I think the definition just
Hmm.
needs to refer to the extending moral consideration to animals or not, because any actionable form of extending moral consideration to animals, is on a spectrum, and that spectrum does not extend to 100%. I agree. There's no way somebody can completely not harm an animal, especially um, if there's some that we can't even see. So the idea would be that if you are a vegan, if you are part of veganism, then you view animals as something that sentient animals as something that can suffer and maybe want to exist, and therefore you do various forms of acting upon that feeling. And then within that spectrum, we all have conversations and try to minimize the suffering. And so, yes, anyways, so I don't know if maybe that's the issue. Maybe when you chat with other vegans, you are able to get to some kind of a point, but I don't have the same stance as maybe some other vegans do, or even the stance that most of them probably haven't even thought about of there being some like complete 100% vegan. I don't, so I'm with you on that. So I don't know.
If you can't be 100% vegan, then Carson is not vegan then, right?
Well, I think veganism as a philosophy refers to the idea of extending moral consideration to animals. So I extend moral consideration to animals. I don't think you can be 100% of the idea of a vegan being somebody that does not, whatever the long list of exploit or cause cruelty or yada, yada, yada,
Okay.
to animals, especially when you factor in something like crop deaths.
Okay, so
There's probably something close to it, but yeah.
so you don't subscribe to the Vegan Society's definition.
I don't. I think it's close. I think it's. I think maybe one of the biggest issues is the people that do subscribe to it don't understand why they don't fit it. If somebody would have to claim that it's not practicable to not be overweight if they acknowledge that crop deaths exist. If somebody is overweight, they would have to call it not practicable, and that obviously is silly. So yes, the definition's pretty good. It definitely points us in the right direction. It points out what most of us vegans view as what matters the most and how to look at things. But yeah, it's not like an extreme perfect set of words for sure.
So your whole spiel, right? Your whole shtick with veganism is we should only reduce suffering, and that's it. Even though if we can eradicate it, we shouldn't do that.
No, we should do well. It depends on if you're going to get into predator culling, but yes, I no, I think we should do the best we can, and depending on our needs, I think that a lot of that should be put into law.
Right. So you don't want to eradicate it, even though you can.
You would have to explain to me what you're talking about, like which form
Right.
of
Right. Right.
eradicating it.
So like
If you're
if
talking about the suicide thing, no, I don't want to make people. I don't want to kill people, and I don't want to kill myself. So
that's exactly where I was going to get to.
yeah,
So
well,
well,
stop getting to that. You've already gone over that part. Find a new part. I mean, we can break
I
this down. We
mean,
can analyze it, but if you keep repeating yourself, you would have to have another good reason to like. Maybe I'm dumb and I'm not getting this, and therefore you got to word it a different way. But go
I
for
think
it.
actually you're
Try to word it a
smart.
different
I
way.
think Carson's smart. All right, you guys are listening. This Carson is very intelligent. Look at all the book stacks behind him. This man is big brains. All right. By the way, you're not
So
vegan. You're drinking coffee brew.
what's up, Mike?
Would I be vegan if I drink coffee brew?
It's called cold brew.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, I don't think things make people vegan or not vegan.
Okay. So I could drink Sprite.
You can drink whatever you want. I would call that unhealthy, and then my
Right.
conversation would go towards the idea of
Overweight and
yeah,
donuts. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, do you have any last thoughts? I might see if a couple dudes here, Jeremy and Jerem, want to hop in here and chat. So,
No, no. I want to talk to more vegans. Right now I kind of have my day off.
Oh, cool. Yeah, let's
How do
bring
you
them
go?
both. Let's bring them both in to talk to you. No, I think both of them, or at least one of them, thinks that I misunderstood you, and so
Oh, yeah.
maybe it can be a tag team of you and two vegans against me.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, but in some form or another, yeah, let's throw them in here.
yeah,
Jeremy and
yeah.
Jeremy, if you guys want to hop in here, I don't know if four is a crowd, but
I'll save out most of it, but unless like something requires me to jump in, I'll do it. But go ahead.
yeah. Yeah, I think they thought I was missing some kind of a element of a reductio. Maybe, I don't know, but yeah, maybe they will explain your thoughts better than you could. That'll be kind of fun.
That is a
All
good way to put
right,
it.
Jeremy. I know. Jerem made a comment about the reductio thing. I don't know if you started that or if it was him. But what do
Yeah.
you think I missed something that Mike here
Well, I
was
mean,
trying to get at?
yeah. I mean, that is the reductio. I was trying to get at a reductio position,
Yeah.
but yeah, go ahead.
But
It
what
seemed
part did
pretty
I
clear
miss?
about me and Jerome that that